Hello, everyone. My name is Noah Hanson. I'm a professional spiritual life coach at inanewway.com. And on this video, I'm posing a very profound question. In fact, one of the most profound questions that we can even ask. And a question that, when answered, when we are seeking an answer to it even, has profound implications in our life that can be positive, depending on which direction we're going towards the answer. So, this question is, very simply, is there an afterlife? Many people ask this question based off of curiosity, and many people may not even think that there is an answer that we can fully understand or an answer at all for humanity to be able to grasp and realize. So, this question, why is it profound and why is it important? Well, it's profound because it gets us thinking outside of the realm, outside of the timeline of our own lives, and it gets us kind of out in a bird's eye view of our lives so that we can understand that if there is an afterlife, then that is extremely more profound than the life that we are temporarily living. If there is an afterlife, and especially if that afterlife is eternal, then that is extremely more profound than the lives that we are living for this short period. If there is no afterlife, then that means that this short period is all we have. And that also can be extremely profound, depending on how you view it, depending on your perspective on that, because that means we have limited time to do what we can to benefit the lives of other people around us or to benefit our own lives, which I believe is a direction that's very easy to take when we take the view or the stance that there is no afterlife. Because then really life is kind of meaningless, and many people may gravitate towards an ideal that says that we should only benefit our own lives if we don't need to worry about anyone else. I mean, just live for pleasure, hedonism, things like that kind of opens the door for that in my mind a little bit. And it did for me in the past when I was on the borderline of atheism and agnosticism. So the answer to this question, is there an afterlife, is an important one. But at the same time, there's many people, and I've been there myself, before I was a spiritual life coach, where I was thinking, it really doesn't matter if I know if there's an afterlife or not right now, because, no one really knows. Well, folks, if there is an afterlife, then that means the answer to the question, is there an afterlife, is extremely important. And it's extremely important that we seek to find the answer to that question so that we can know with assurance whether there is an afterlife or not, and how to move forward with our lives based off of that answer. So why is this so important? Why am I saying this is so extremely important? I told you about the bird's eye view, but to go a little more in depth, it's extremely important because if there is an afterlife, that means there's a God. That means there's a creator. That means there's other beings out there that are beyond the realm of this physical life and all these physical beings that we interact with on a daily basis in this physical life. If there is a God, that means there's a higher power to answer to, a creator to answer to for how we've lived our lives. And now if there's an afterlife, such as in the Buddhist tradition, a nirvana, then that's a whole completely different mindset. That's a whole completely different thing. That's separate from God. Buddha didn't talk about God. He talked about nirvana, but not as God. So if there is a Buddhist way of thinking about the afterlife, then reincarnation is a very real possibility. And if reincarnation is a very real possibility, I think there's many murderers, there's many people who've done very evil things that would not have done those things had they thought that they would turn into a cockroach on their next life, because they would never have gone down that path had they had some accountability in the afterlife. So this, you're starting to see hopefully why this answer to this question, is there an afterlife, is so extremely profound. Now, by just simply processing this question and really getting down to what is the evidence for an afterlife? Where is this evidence located? Is this evidence reliable? How reliable is this evidence? How do we know that this person is speaking the truth? All these types of questions open up when we ask ourselves, is there an afterlife? And I believe that there is evidence for an afterlife. In fact, I believe there's so much evidence for an afterlife that it's almost unarguable. It's almost something that you can't argue. However, if you don't believe there's an afterlife, then you also probably don't believe in a spiritual plane of any sort. You also probably don't believe that the spirit world even exists. So, if that's the truth, then miracles cannot happen. And if that's the truth, then the soul doesn't really exist. So the soul is not eternal. If it is a thing, it only dies with the body, and it's only a part of the body. So the answers to these questions really get down to the nitty-gritty. It really gets down to the nitty-gritty of spirituality, and it forms a foundation of truth-seeking in one's life, and it really opens up a new pathway to answers in your spirituality, to answers, finding answers in the spiritual paths that you've chosen in life, and being able to understand what it means to do the actions that you do, what it means to follow a moral code, what it means to not follow a moral code, and what implications those may have once the time comes that we leave this plane. Thank you for watching this video. Now, I can go more in depth in the future, and I plan on doing so, to be able to share with you what I believe more specifically about the answer to this question. I already told you I believe there's an afterlife. And now, if you know me, you'll also know that I follow a man named Jesus Christ who lived 2,000 years ago, and whose documents of the writings of his life, written by first-person testimony, are extremely accurate, so that we can know the words that he said were accurately recorded and passed down through generations. Now, by passed down, I don't mean translated over and over and over again. The Bible was translated once from Greek into Latin, once from Greek into English, and once from Greek into all these other languages. But those original Greek manuscripts we still have, so that we know that what Jesus said, not only about the afterlife, but everything that he said, everything that he did, was accurately recorded by the first persons, the first person testimony, the people who lived and ate with him and walked with him and learned from him throughout his lifetime. Thank you for tuning into this episode of A New Way with Noah. I pray that you will find more answers to the question, is there an afterlife, and all the questions that come and open up to your life when you ask yourself that question and start to truth seek in a more bird's eye view of life, not truth seeking just for, future life paths, future life goals, future life, aspirations, but also afterlife aspirations. If you'd like to know more, you can visit inanewway.com and check out all the videos and podcasts that we have, which involve a perspective that includes an afterlife, a perspective that includes God, and a perspective that includes the value that we place on every single human being, because they are a soul created in the image of God, and because they are valuable, because they have the power, the authority, the ability to profoundly impact other people's lives in a positive way. And that's what I pray for you also, that you will profoundly impact the people in your lives in a positive way. Thank you for tuning into this episode once again. Visit inanewway.com, and I will see you on the next episode. Stay blessed.